So we are live now.
Yay!
Yes, thank you, Emily, so much for coming.
Totally happy to be here.
Yeah.
Here.
Well, so quickly, where are you located?
I'm in Pensacola, Florida. We
Okay.
just moved here, our hometown, and we have a lot of kids, so we came back to family.
Awesome. So where'd you move from?
We were in Tampa for 10 years.
Tampa. Okay. So Florida predominantly, though, right?
Yeah, all Florida. It was hot there, and we needed some help with these kiddos, so we were really happy to get back.
Awesome. Cool. Sorry, this thing keeps falling. I'm a talk with my hand. Thank you. I talk with my hand, so once in a while I might. I did that a few times. All right. So if you guys are just joining, welcome to Workonomy. We are here to discuss stuff that small businesses, we identify pain points and we find solutions through coaches, business owners, just basically through experience, because that's the best teacher. And we have the lovely Emily Ley with us today.
Hi.
Someone told me, hey, do you want to do this interview with Emily? I was like, is that possible? Can I actually get there? Can I get her? That's awesome. So thank you again so much for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real quick, we are Workonomy. We live stream twice a month. We take questions live and we answer them, as well as we also take questions from our Workonomy Facebook group, our LinkedIn group, Emily's Tribe. They gave us a ton of great questions too that we're going to run with. So make sure that you ask your question, because we also are giving something really cool away. This just dropped again. I feel like it just... We're giving something really cool away. Hint, hint. So make sure you ask your questions, because Emily and I are here to help answer them. And I think with that, we're just going to get started. Quick introduction. Emily, you're a 2-time author, right? Is that correct?
Yep, soon to be 3.
Soon to be 3. I feel like I listened to a podcast recently said you were working on your 3rd one. Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
Huge. And you're also the founder and creative director for Simplified, AT-A-GLANCE, organizers, calendars, planners. And what I love about what you do is that you don't just provide a product.
It's a sign.
But you also provide kind of a service by doing these things, these videos and these podcasts, and you kind of share tips and how you've gotten to where you've been. So thank you for deciding to share that with us here.
Absolutely.
I would love for you to do a quick intro for some of our viewers who probably already know you. So.
Oh gosh, happy to. Well, I'm Emily Ley, and I am a mom to 3 kids. I have twins who are 3 and a 7-year-old little boy. My husband and I live in Pensacola, Florida. We just moved back here to have lots of family around. And I'm the creator of Simplified. And so we make planners and organizational tools for women that are really busy, just like us. So it's really fun because, like you said, we get to identify pain points and struggles we have in our own life and create products to simplify them and automate and streamline and just make life easier, which we could all use a little bit of.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And real quick, I wanted to pan, because I did take some time setting it up.
Oh, I love it. That's great.
We got some, and the calendar's on this side. So we'll go into it more.
I'd show you mine. I have all my stuff all around me.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I was running around the store. I'm like, I need a big table because I have a lot of things to show.
Right.
And by the way, you can purchase all these awesome planners. They're beautiful. At Office Depot, you can go in store or you can go online and purchase them there. So without further, before we start, also remember, you, the viewer, you can ask questions. I really, really recommend that you do. It's an awesome opportunity to get some great advice or just to get some cool answers. And also, I encourage you to tag your entrepreneur friends who, I'm trying to say this politely, but basically you haven't seen their desk. Like, you've not seen the surface of their desk, and they're an entrepreneur. They should probably be watching this. So tag them, let them know that,
Totally agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, now without further ado, I wanted to quickly, just dive right in. When you talk about simplifying your life, you're not just talking about, I think the last YouTube podcast I saw you on as a guest, you guys were talking about, things as simple as doing laundry every day, right? I think instead of letting it pile into laundry mountain, I think that's what the term I heard. Doing a little bit every day, which is an interesting and seems counterintuitive because you feel like you're doing it every day. It's like, but at the same time, I feel like you're limiting your stress levels because you're not seeing this thing rise every day. Like, oh, that's 4 loads now. That's 5. That's 10.
Yeah.
All right, I need next weekend. That whole
I
thing.
know. I need like the entire weekend to deal with this. And then
Right.
it becomes this huge chore of like, how do you manage it? And yeah, I mean, I have 3 kids and they wear a lot of clothes and they like to change clothes all the time. And we took laundry as an example of something in life that just becomes really daunting and big. And so, are there ways that we can break it down and make it, it seems obvious, like, okay, if I broke it down into something smaller, I don't need someone to tell me to do that, but I always just lived my life doing laundry on the weekends, But what if we took a step back and said, is there a way we can make this easier? So I do laundry every day. Yes, I have like a mountain of laundry sometimes when I get behind it, but doing a little bit every day helps just kind of make it part of your daily routine. It makes it a habit, and then it just makes it something that you can manage. And so every morning I get up, I throw whatever's dirty in the house all in the washing machine at one time. You don't have to separate it. There's these little color catchers, they're called, that are from Shout, and you can throw them in there and they work really well. And it just makes something that can become such a task so much easier. And I think that that's a great example of a lot of things in life we do just because we've always done them that way, when in actuality, there's ways that we can take that type of a thing and simplify it so that we have more space and more time for what we really enjoy in life,
Right.
which is not much.
That's why I wanted to bring up that example, because it's such a tangible example of everyday life that you can somehow take a methodology to it, and then all of a sudden now you have this extra time.
Right.
Extra time for, let's see, what are some good things to spend that extra time on?
Well, I mean, for me, spending time with my kids, we live in a beautiful beach town, so enjoying the town here, but I think doing that in the morning before I work from home. So my home office is here, and I get that done after I get the kids out the door to school. And then I have time to get my work done during my work day so that I'm not working, crazy hours at night, or something that we all like to do as entrepreneurs. We kind of get ahead of ourselves, but it just creates more time for the good stuff.
Right. And so that's actually why I asked, because I know for a fact that you are very adamant about well, I'm not going to say work-life balance, because I read an article that said you don't like using that word or that phrase, but for lack of a better word, I'm going to say it right now, that work-life balance is important, right? It's not, you kind of have to prioritize what's most important for you, which could be different from you and I. We have different priorities probably.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I just really wanted to highlight that. So thank you for that. Let me see here. Are people commenting? Of course they're commenting. Emily's on. They're commenting.
I think, about what you said about balance. It's funny. I think we often think that it's this thing that we can like achieve. Like if we work hard enough, if we simplify enough, if we streamline enough, we can achieve balance. And it's like this finish line of I've arrived and I'm here. But like I write books on the subject, and I struggle with it daily, I've heard this example of, it's like riding a bike, where you're constantly shifting your weight from left to right. So one day you're spending more time with work, and the next day you have to spend more time with your family, but you're constantly shifting your weight to keep from face planting. So as long as we're not face planting and we're shifting our weight, and like sometimes we got to throw a little this way and sometimes we got to throw a little more that way, but we're constantly, correcting when we need to, we're there. Like to me, that's ideal. Getting to a place where you have the flexibility to be able to do that.
Gotcha. So let's dive into some questions then. We had a lot of people asking questions, and I kind of tried to categorize them because a lot of them are linked to each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to do with a getting started category.
Okay.
I'm just going to list a few, and then we'll kind of like have a discussion about a few of those questions. So one person specifically asked if you had mompreneurship. How do you balance creating a business when you have little kids at home?
Oh, it's hard, man. I really feel like you just have to segment your time. If you're starting a business, you have to have time to do it. And so whether that's burning the midnight oil after everyone goes to bed, which I did for many years, stayed up way too late. I think I aged in those years because I didn't sleep at all. But whether you're working at night or you're kid swapping with a friend where they take yours and you take theirs, for a little while one or the other gets some work done, or you have a babysitter, or when your kids are at school. But dedicating time to your business is so important, and thinking about it with 100% of your brain. It's impossible, if you ask me, to multitask. I don't even think multitasking is a thing. And now I think we're really good as humans about being like flittery from one thing to the next. Like I'm working on this, and then I'm doing this, and then I'm doing this, and I can answer an email while making mac and cheese and helping the toddler on my leg. But really, we're just wearing our brains down. And so be all there with your business. And then when you're not with your business, be all there with your kids. And that helps a lot with that mommy guilt stuff that we all feel. Knowing that when you're having family time, you're having family time. So yeah, I just think you have to separate it.
Gotcha. And so what are a few pieces of advice on how, that makes sense logically, but it's hard to do, I imagine. Okay. What are some tips or some things you say to yourself that helps you follow through with that?
I struggled a lot in the beginning, a lot, with the guilt of being a working mom at all. A lot of my friends were stay-at-home moms. My mom was a teacher for 38 years and had so much flexibility, but she was a working mom, and had summers off and just more time off than I do. And so I struggled with that for a long time, but I knew deep down in my gut that I was exemplifying and teaching my kids something really cool about following your dreams and hard work and working and pursuing a passion. And so as my kids have gotten older, especially with my almost 8-year-old boy, Brady, he takes part in things with me now. And I mean, he films commercials and does all kinds of fun stuff, but he says to me now, I think it's really cool what you do, and I want to make my own business. So he wants to open a barbecue restaurant at this point.
That sounds good.
That's his dream. And I'm like, dude, you can do it, And he sees the fruits of hard work. And so I just remind myself that I'm not doing my family a disservice by pursuing a business or a passion or having a career at all. I remind myself that A, I'm helping provide for our family, and B, I'm showing them what it looks like to really pursue something you love. Mm-hmm. So you just have to have that positive self-talk for yourself.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And so what about tools you use in terms of making sure that you're following your rules in terms of priority?
Well, if I don't say so myself, having a good planner is a great tool. But honestly, I mean, I created right there. See it?
It keeps falling. There we go.
No, honestly, back in 2011, so I got started in graphic design. I was designing wedding invitations and fake brochures and like anything I get my hands on in the beginning. But in 2011, I found myself with a baby on one hip and a laptop on the other, and I was trying to run a business and take care of my baby, and I had these two things I loved a whole lot, and I wanted to be able to do life well. And to me, everybody around me was doing life effortlessly and perfectly, and I was like struggling. And I just wanted a tool that would help me keep it all together. And I knew I was good at organizing. It's always been innately something I'm good at, but I needed a tool that would help me do it, a place to keep it all, right? And so I went out looking for a planner or an organizer or something that helped me do that. And everything I found had like lots of boxes to check and things to fill out, and how much water did you drink, and what was your budget today, and just all these things that made me feel like, honestly, like a failure. They made me feel like I wasn't measuring up every day. And I wanted something that would just let me keep my schedule, my to-do list, and what's for dinner. And so I took some paper and a binder and a Sharpie and drew out what is now the Simplified Planner. And so having a tool where I keep everything from grocery lists to, what my schedule is and what my tasks are, it just keeps me on track and it helps me have a place to keep everything out of my brain. When my brain is constantly flittering back and forth, like we said, from business to family to I have to put this in the oven and I got this to do for the birthday party this weekend and whatever, I'm not good for anybody. And so having a place, whether it's my planner or a different type of a planner or a desk calendar or a wall calendar or whatever it is, having a place to put it all, I think it just simplifies our brains, gives us more space to think, and helps us just be better in general. So I obviously use a planner. I love having things like a board on the wall to serve as a master calendar for our family and for work, where everyone can see, when Dad's out of town, or when I have a late meeting or something like that, or when there's a soccer game. So using a tool like that, again, keeps it out of our brains and on paper or on the wall where everybody can see it.
Gotcha. So I think that I'm a practitioner of organized chaos. I don't know if anyone ever brags about that, but I mean, so a perfect example is I write these millions of Post-it notes, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
And they're in my wallet. So every time I pull open my wallet, I'm like, oh my God, I have to do that still.
That's it, though. That works for you.
Well, it does until there's 15 Post-its in your wallet.
Okay.
And you're like, okay, now it's a little unruly. But I understand. It's like just getting it out, getting it down, writing it down actually helps, right? I mean, that wherever you write it down helps.
Absolutely. Get out of your head and onto something where it can live until you need to be reminded of it,
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So something that kind of is related to the first question we asked was what did balance look like in terms of, I mean, you kind of did explain that a little bit, but when your kids were, I'm not using this word, the phrase was itty bitty. When your kids were itty bitty, what did balance kind of look like for you? I mean, once you achieve that, I mean, I think it's a never ending battle to continue. You always have to be working to have that balance. But what did it look like when you were pretty happy with that balance when you were getting started?
I think I had to get to a place when I was getting started where I knew it was a season. Like, my kids were only going to be this age for a little while, which is both good and bad. My business was only going to be this young for a little while. And I just had to get over that hump of like getting the foundation in place for the business and for my kids. And oddly enough, it kind of happened at the same time. So it was like extra hard.
Right.
But I just got to a place where I said, okay, I might need to work at night for a season. I might need to get more work done at night and be with these guys during the day. I had a babysitter that would come over a couple of days a week so I could actually get stuff done when they were tiny. But outside of those hours, you just have to remember that everything lasts for a season. Have grace with yourself. If you have to work at night, it's fine. If you have to escape to a coffee shop to get some work done every now and then, that's fine too. It may not always look like that. And I'm at a place now where all of my kids are old enough. They're in school every day. I'm able to have like dedicated work hours, but it wasn't always like that. And I remember thinking those seasons were going to last forever, but you just got to push through,
So kind of, okay, interesting. Yeah, more from this. So I think this leads into this about working from home. So like you said, you choose sometimes to work from, certain seasons you work from night. That flexibility is probably huge for your, like in terms of your success. Would you say, working from home was a huge, like that's part of why it was, you could work from home? I'm sorry, I just repeated my question. Working from home, did that allow you to actually balance easier? I mean, because some people would say that if you're at home, like I do work from home, my dogs distract me a lot. So how does that work from home?
It's funny. Forever, I thought working from home was what I was going to do until I got to a place where I could have a big fancy office or have a studio somewhere. And when we moved, we moved to Pensacola and we were renting a tiny, tiny little beach house that had like no internet half the time. And I did not have a desk. I didn't have a place to work. And so I rented a little office space. And for the first time in my whole career, I went to an office every day. And I hated it. I didn't like it at all because, I always say I have to go back to that gut check of like, why did you start your business in the first place? For me, I started my business not to build an empire, not to, set any records, do anything. I started to have flexibility as a mom. That's it. I just wanted to have the same flexibility my mom did as a teacher where I could, go on the field trip if I wanted to, or I could, do this at home if I need to. And when I got into an office space, I feel like I lost a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love working from home. I love my office in my house. I'm able to like run and move the laundry if I need to, or go pick up a sick kid and bring them home if I need to. I love feeling like my family life and my work life live together. Especially right now while they're tiny, itty bitty, like we said. But yeah, I love working from home, especially, even if you are working on your guest bed, which is where I got started, the bed, your guest room, having just a desk or a space, maybe it's not a nice office or whatever, a room devoted to you, but having just some kind of corner of a table or little area that's just your own, where when you sit down, you're in work mode, that's really valuable, even if you're just carving out a little space for yourself.
Gotcha. And so are you sitting in your home office right now?
I am, yes. And it's really clean and beautiful on this side, and it's a mess over there. I turned the camera the right way.
That makes sense. That's smart. That's smart Facebook Live.
Yeah.
And so we actually did get a flurry of questions before we got disconnected. So I kind of want to run through them just in case they, okay, cool. Sorry, the volume sounded like it cut out. All right. So hi, Emily. This is from Katrina. Hi, Emily. What are your favorite Christmas traditions and your favorite way to wrap presents? Hold on. I didn't realize this wasn't a business question, but let's answer it. Let's answer it anyway. Let's answer it anyway since we're having fun.
I think it's good.
Favorite Christmas traditions, your favorite way to wrap presents, and finally, how does your extended family handle gift giving?
Well, I can tell you, business and family related at Christmas time. Christmas is a really big time for our business because we sell planners. And so Christmas time can be like really, really, really busy. Well, I have a team of 8 women who work with me, myself included, and many of them are moms. A lot of them are, one of them is in college. They're all in different seasons of life. And I want to extend to them the same flexibility I have to be there for my family. So we actually soft close for 2 weeks around Christmas and New Year's. We always have. It'll never change. And we work like crazy the entire year to get everything up and running and ready to go for those 2 weeks. It's all automated. Everything's just like built up and ready to go so that everything's taken care of and handled while we are enjoying time with our family. So that is a big Christmas tradition, business and family-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, Christmas traditions for our family. We do a snack dinner every Christmas Eve, and it's my favorite. Everyone just brings their favorite snacks, and we kind of hang out by the fireplace and enjoy each other. It's not fancy at all, and that's how we like it.
I like that.
Yeah, that's easy. Gift giving wise, we just decided this year that we're not going to exchange gifts with adults other than our spouses. So we have lots of kids in our families, so we're only going to do Christmas gifts for kids this year and do experiences for the adults. So like going out to dinner together or babysitting or something like that. So
That's cool.
That's a new one.
Hey, and I'm just trying to twist this theme in here, but that sounds like a form of simplifying too, knowing that you have so many kids to get gifts for.
Yeah.
You decide we're just getting gifts for kids. You know what I mean?
It absolutely is. And I can say simplifying gift giving, I keep a running list in my planner. I actually have just a little index card that's stuck in the front pocket where I keep a running list of everything I've purchased for everyone. So hopefully no one ever finds that card to ruin Christmas, but it's there, and it's where I keep inventory of gifts that I've purchased or need to purchase. And it, again, keeps it out of my brain on paper so that it's right there and like within arm's reach.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome. Another question from Patricia. This one is a kind of a doozy. I like it. Hi, Emily.
Okay.
When you were starting out, when did you realize that you needed to outsource work or hire someone? And what happened to your business when you did?
You know, it's funny. I hired my first employee in 2011, right after my son was born. And I knew I needed to hire someone because I literally just couldn't do it all. I mean, it was like physics. You have this big of a box and this much stuff you're trying to put in it, and it just didn't work. And so I have always believed in hiring people of great integrity, not necessarily great resume or skill. So I believe anybody can be taught to do anything, and I just hire people who are awesome. And I've gotten really lucky that everyone I've ever hired has just been really amazing. So the first girl who came and worked with me, her name was Gina. She was with me for like ever, 6 years, I think, before she left to be a full-time mom. But she came and sat next to me at my desk and watched me work for a day and just took things. I didn't even know how to delegate to her because I was doing everything and it was all so intertwined. She just watched me work and would say, I'll take that, and she'd write it down. I'll do that, and she'd write it down. And she was amazing, and we worked together for a long time, and over the years, we just added and added and added and grew and grew and grew. And yeah, so now we have 8, but it was just physics. I mean, it was, you just know when it's time to outsource or delegate, it's time. The year that I shipped 10,000 boxes out of my house, I knew that it was time to get a fulfillment center, you know?
So was it, I mean, did you essentially, was your body telling you like, hey, or was it multiple things? It wasn't just your body, maybe it was your brain, your heart, your, you know,
All of it.
just, yeah. So just, I guess would a good piece of advice be just to really listen to you or to your inner self, essentially? I mean, I hate to get all spiritual, but yeah, like your inner self probably knows.
I believe, I think one of the most important things we have as entrepreneurs is our gut. Like, our gut is what told us to start a business. Our gut is what we listen to when we make hard decisions that sometimes we don't feel qualified to make. Mm-hmm. I listened to my gut, and my gut was like, you're only going to have little kids for a little while, and you're going to burn yourself out health-wise if you keep going at this pace. So it's time to get some help. And it was worth it to have someone come and how cool it is to have someone work with you that you can bounce ideas off of and share ideas with them. And so I really believe that having good community, even if it's not an employee, even if it's just a peer that maybe works in a different industry or has a different career, that you can just share ideas and bounce things off of. I think that community is so important.
Absolutely. I'm going to jump back to community in 1 second, but so to finish that question, how quick or what was the time frame for you to realize there was a result of you hiring somebody to help?
Yeah, I mean, I hired her in 2011, and that was when we released the first Simplified planner, and it was just such a cool idea to take something and simplify it like that it really started to catch on quickly. And so we knew, okay, we feel like we're onto something here, and she and I worked together, and eventually I think we hired our third person shortly thereafter, so it wasn't very long.
Awesome. Yeah. So you saw the results, you're like, oh, we need to do this again. Cool.
Yeah.
Which item from your Office Depot collection would be the most helpful gift for a busy mom?
Okay, so I think the most helpful item that would be a great gift is the Get Organized box set as part of the Simplified system. I have one that's open right here. It is a binder concept, which a cool thing about the Simplified planner is it actually started as a binder concept. So being able to actually make this collection was such a cool throwback for me because it was originally designed to be just like this.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so the binder, and then it has this really great closure thing here. And then you have a pocket here, and you can add and take away pages. So there are lots of refill. Let me find it. You can get daily pages. You can get pages for wellness or creatives. There's just all sorts of fun things that she could use to customize it. But when you give her the kit, you're basically giving her the starter pack. So she has everything she needs in terms of like calendar pages and notes and then tabs and all that. I think this is such a cool thing to give just to kickstart somebody. That or any of the planners, the Simplified planners. When you gift somebody something like that, you're really giving them a fresh start. And I think that is just, what better gift to give?
Right. At the end of the year, it's perfect to give something like that.
Yeah.
Something also I really like about what you just explained was how customizable it is. It sounds like, for any kind of lifestyle, you can have it tailored to that lifestyle, which is important. So for a gift,
Great.
Yeah, customizable for gift is always a good way to go because you might think you know someone, but you might not. So let them customize it.
And there's just so many fun stickers and washi tape and all kinds of things that they can really use to make it their own too.
Ooh, here's another question from Jan. I said we have a bunch of questions, but we got tons of questions before we disconnected. It's awesome.
Good. Yeah.
So this one's from Janice. How do you keep life from becoming too focused on material items?
Ooh, That's a good one.
It is.
You know, I think no matter what, it's just that's a constant battle. It's something that we've talked about a lot with our kids. And that's where, especially around Christmas time, we started talking about experiential gifts, things where we're giving them experiences like a date night with mom or tickets to a movie or things like that. I also think the way you counteract the material side of life in general is by giving. By giving back, by caring for your community in ways other than just selling a product. And also giving money where you can. So like we support the Cystinosis Research Foundation. A dear friend of mine has 2 little boys that have cystinosis, and we've done fundraisers for them every year. And it's something I am so proud to be part of. And I think it's cool because we're able to rally our community around something that's really, really special. On a whole other side of that, I have always said that the day that we just run a planner company is the day I don't want to do this anymore, because it's about so much more than planners to me. It's about really forming and building a community of people who want to support each other and share ideas. I mean, the laundry idea came from my mom. It was just something that she taught me to do when my kids were born, that I've shared with our community, and it's caught on like wildfire. People have added their ideas, and now we talk about what to do with our pantries and how to deal with meal planning and how do we handle, you know, this whole work-life balance thing. There's just so much that can happen in community when we focus on that and like building something meaningful. The rest of it happens, but like building that community, to me, I love that our company keeps that at the forefront of what we're doing always. It makes everything fall into place.
Absolutely. And it's a huge testament to, I mean, the questions that we got in the first 5 minutes of our life, we got like 10 of them. And that's a huge testament to your community, because that means they know they will they'll get their answer, they'll get their question answered, right? And they know that they're going to learn something that they can take home with them or to share with someone they love. And I think you have done a great job in terms of that branding. And that's the thing, is I'm calling it branding, but it's not really even branding. It's actually just community building. It's just a simple, you're making friends with the technology we have.
It's so fun.
Right.
But it's so cool too, because when we share those ideas, we help them use our products better. I think, and I've been guilty of this in the past, you can buy a planner or an organizer or something, and you can buy it with all the hope in the world that it's going to change your life. And I mean, I love that feeling. I remember it every year of like opening a new planner and thinking, this is it. I'm going to get my life together. I'm going to like organize all the things and it sounds so big, but like be who I want to be. And we want to help people do that. Like a pretty planner isn't going to change your life unless you invest yourself wholeheartedly into it and you make it a part of your life. So, our goal is to not let our planners be bookends. We want people to actually sit down with them and use them and put real tactical stuff into play in their lives to really help simplify them.
That's funny, because like I just thought of this joke while you were saying that about, people buy planners and they think that's it, that I'm now doing what I said I'm doing. It's very similar to a gym membership.
Yes,
a lot of people buy a gym membership and just don't go because they're like, oh, I'm part of a gym now, so I'll just wait.
You're like, how do I use this equipment? I don't know what to do with it.
Exactly.
You need someone to show you what to do and walk you through that so that you're equipped to do it. That's a great example.
Thank you. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I mean, and like you said, and then you took it even further by saying someone's got to show you. And then, by the way, when I learned how to weightlift and loved it, I was excited to go after that, right? And then I was also excited to help somebody else who looked like they didn't know what they were doing, because it's like, well, someone shared it with me, I'm going to share with them, and then that's how you build a community organically.
That's how you build a community. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
I love that too. I'm so glad that came up. Okay, so we started with getting started, then I got sidetracked by reading people's questions, which is always awesome. Oh, it's getting a little loud behind me. Okay, so we talked about your home office, but this is perfect. So we talked about home offices. You said you have 8 people you work with. I'm assuming most of that's remote. Am I right in this?
Yeah.
So how do you coordinate that?
It's been such a learning process over the years. So we live in Pensacola now. We used to be in Tampa, where we had a couple of the girls actually lived there, and every now and then we'd all powwow, at my house, and we would sit down and work on things together. But now I have our marketing director lives here in Pensacola, where I live. So we use a lot of different things. We use Asana, the project management system online, and that helps us. That's where everything lives. All of our, timelines and all of our projects we're working, our tasks, that kind of thing. And then each of us are using our planners and on a daily or weekly basis, downloading that into our planners where we're working from then on. But it's hard. And I think, we just have to stay connected. And we have a crazy, awesome group text that's going like 90 miles an hour all day, every day. So there's that. And then, we meet a couple times a week to just get together and chat about what's going on and what we're all working on. So it's fun. They're amazing. Amazing.
And I think that goes back to, when we were talking about who you hire. You're not necessarily hiring people who have a specific skill. You're hiring them for their personality or just knowing that they're willing to learn and put forth that effort.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, our marketing director just retired from teaching. So she used to be a teacher for many years. And I knew that she was amazing with people and really detailed and great with like proofreading and doing that kinds of thing. And so she's awesome as a marketing director. I can teach her marketing, but it's hard to teach somebody to just be passionate and detailed and all that.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. I know, we've had a lot of interruptions, so we've kind of taken a lot of your time. Do you have any more time? Do you have a little bit more time? Or?
Oh, I have plenty of time. Yeah.
Awesome. Glad to hear. I should have brought my lunch. I like to eat lunch and multitask, so I just realized when you were saying that, it definitely makes it. So I write a lot of blogs for Office Depot as well, and I write when I'm writing. I eat when I'm writing, and always telling myself I'm saving time, but it usually takes like an extra 2 hours to finish that blog. But I still continue to tell myself I'm saving time. It's a weird trick that
right?
I think we all do from time to time, saying, no, my way's the right way. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah. It's once you get in the mindset of simplifying things and you really take a step back and look at life and with different eyes, it's interesting to think like, why am I doing that? Why have I spent so long doing things that way when I could do it this way and do it in half the time? I don't know if you're familiar with Tim Ferriss and the 4-Hour Work Week, but love that book. Totally amazing book. And the way that he talks about just unraveling everything and looking at it like, can I put this back together in a different way that makes more sense and lets me do what I want to do with my life in a better way? It's really cool. Really great book.
Gotcha. And so another question, great one, because we've been talking about balance. We've been talking about how you set your priorities, but life is very unexpected. And so as a result, there are things like kids getting sick, or actually that's probably the main one. That's actually the example I was given. But the question is really, how do you balance work with unexpected situations, both personal and professional? Because nothing ever goes as planned, as you can see with our Facebook Live.
Oh, man. I mean, yeah, it's been the revolving door of who's sick today in my house lately. But I tell myself I will never regret choosing my kids, ever. So I just choose them, when I have to, I put it down and choose them. If they're sick, they win. I cancel my day.
Yeah.
And it stinks. It means you have to say no to people and you have to sometimes disappoint people or reschedule things, and it makes it complicated, but I will never, ever regret choosing them.
Gotcha. So how do you...
I eventually regret not choosing them. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I like that. I want to mitigate fears of doing that. So, I mean, how do you handle that? So if let's say you have to call in, not sick, but you're calling yourself out because a child is sick. How do you handle that fallout, if there is a fallout? Or how do you prevent the fallout?
I think as a society and as entrepreneurs, we're often very afraid to say no. When you're getting started in business, you think you have to say yes to absolutely everything, because one of those yeses might be your big break or might be the thing that pushes you over the top. And that's true to some degree. But I think we get into a bad habit of just saying yes to things to be busy. I think we get addicted to busy. And I got to a place in late 2016 where I had infant twins at home and I had been on 48 airplanes that year. And I hate flying. but beside that, I had just run myself into the ground. I mean, our brand had been carried in 800 retail stores around the world, boutique type retail stores. I was doing trade shows. I'd written my first book. I was just doing so many things, all good things, but too many things.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to take a step back, give myself permission to say no, give myself permission to disappoint people, to have hard conversations, but to fiercely commit myself to what was most important to me and what I wanted my life to look like. I didn't want to be on 48 airplanes. I didn't want to be traveling all the time. And so that meant we had to change our business a little bit. And it was scary and hard, but in a big way, I started saying no to things, and it made it a lot easier to say no to things in smaller ways.
Mm-hmm.
But it also kind of refined my decision-making abilities a little bit and helped me remember, like, you get one shot at life. Do it right. Don't have regrets. I mean, if you're going to regret not being home with the kid that has the fever. I mean, for me, it might not be that way for everyone. But for me, I will. And so I do that. I also have a husband who is super involved and awesome, and he will step in if I have something I can't cancel or something like that. That's also part of the reason we moved to Pensacola, is we have family here. So we have help. We have family that can come over and help as well. But I think it's super important to tell entrepreneurs, business people, whether you're a mom or a dad or you're not or whatever, you don't have to say yes to everything. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to live life with your hair on fire and have a successful business.
Right.
I thought that for the time.
A lot. I mean, yeah. I mean, I used to think like that too. It's just like the more hours I put in a day, the more successful I'm going to become. Is like literally how I thought for 10 plus years. Like, you know, and then I literally doing these conversations, a flip switch, and it was not how many hours I'm putting in a day, but it's like, what am I doing with those hours? What am I like? Do I have the radio on when I'm writing? Because as much as I love it, it slows me down. You know, it's just small things like that.
Am I right?
Right, exactly. Is my dog, like I have to take my dog's collar off because the jingle distracts me. Like, I swear. So yeah, it's funny that, you know, we try and control everything in terms of, like, I can work 12 hours, so that means I'm going to have that much time to get all this done.
Yeah.
And then when I put in the 12 hours and realize I didn't even get that done, that puts me even lower in terms of morale. That gets me pretty low. So
yeah, and it's stressful, and yeah.
Yeah, so the idea of A, learning to say no so you don't have so many things on your list, and then B, learning how to manage that time and learning that it's not about the amount, it's about what you're doing in that time. So yeah, always super important to reiterate something like that, especially to entrepreneurs, because we want to do everything because it's our baby. It's essentially our baby, so you've got to treat it as such.
Absolutely. And we get nervous. Like, if things aren't super busy and stressful, we feel like, oh no, are we backsliding, or are things going down?
Mm-hmm.
And it's because we've become accustomed to that being the norm, being stressed out and frazzled all the time, you know?
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to probably, we're about to end it because, you know, we're going on probably about 50 minutes, which is awesome. Thank you so much for sticking around that long. But I did want to get a couple more thoughts from you. First of all, we already got the idea for the Busy Mom gift, right?
Yeah.
If you don't mind showing them again, I don't have that actual book, but I really want to highlight that again.
This is the Get Organized box set that is part of the Simplified system, and it has the binder and all the fixins inside. And then this is one taken out. This is the one you get in the box. This is the one that you can get and kind of build it yourself.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you can get them at Office Depot. You could also go to officedepot.com. You can get it delivered or pick it up same day. I did that actually today for Cyber Monday.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, and actually, if I could carry this and walk it over, we actually have these new lockers. So you can order them and then pick them up same day in this locker. You get a code and you just put it in. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so we're going to hope that, you know, all of those lockers are filled with Emily Ley products. I'm pretty sure they will be.
The lockers hold my favorite product. Can I show my favorite?
Oh, yeah, please.
I wrapped it for the holidays. I love this desk pad. It is ginormous, and I think it would be really funny if you were going to like a white elephant party or something where you wrap it and people are like, "What's this giant thing?" This is one of my favorite things that we made, and this is something I'm going to use like crazy on my desk. It has gold foil on every page, which is beautiful, and yeah, I just think it's awesome. It's a big desk.
Yeah. Actually, I'm a huge fan of the desk calendars specifically.
Yes,
Actually,
write all the things down.
Not to talk bad about wall calendars, but I hate writing on the wall like that. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So I prefer the desk calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So, any last pieces of advice in terms of like we're getting into the new year here. 2019 is coming up. We have your planners for 2019, specifically 2019 this coming year. So with that in mind, is there any advice you'd love to give someone who's considering beginning their business in 2019? Maybe not January, maybe it's in March or April, but they have plans for 2019.
Find a system that works for you. Find a tool or a system, whatever that is. I'm a little partial to the Simplified Planner, but find a tool or a system that helps you manage your time so that it doesn't get away from you, especially in the beginning. I think it's so important to sit down before the year starts with whatever calendaring system or planning system you're using and write out, your vacation days, write out, important birthdays and anniversaries. Just spend some specific time setting up your tool, whatever that is, your system, filling it out and getting everything down on paper so that then as the day-to-day happens and you start really using it on January 1st, then that stuff can be already there and you work on top of it. Does that make sense? Schedule time off. Schedule days where you take a mental health day. But get those down on paper and start thinking about them ahead of time so that the year doesn't really get away from you.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's always my problem is like I plan 4 months ahead, but I don't remember what I planned 4 months ago anymore. These Post-its only last so long.
You need a planner.
I do need a planner. You're absolutely right. And actually, my girlfriend loves these planners, and I was going to surprise her, but I probably won't be able to now that we're doing this video. But it's cool that you have the starter kit. That's a great idea for a gift. Real quick, so the name of your 2 books so far, Grace Not Perfection and Simplified Life, correct?
You got it. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I like to try and research sometimes. But what's your 3rd book going to be, the one that you're working on?
Yeah, I just started working on it. It's due soon, so I need to finish it. But I have always wanted to write a book to my daughter, and she is 3, and I never thought I'd have a daughter. I always thought I would be a boy mom. She was born very loud. She is a very loud, bright personality. She was very hard as a baby because she was just big personality. And as soon as she just screamed and cried a lot. And as soon as she got her voice, as soon as she started to grow into who she was meant to be, she just started to blossom. And I want her to know that she was made to be exactly who she is. She was made to be bold and big and free and loud. And I want her to always embrace that because the world tells us we have to be a lot different than that sometimes. I'm afraid the world may tell her she needs to be smaller or bigger or different than she is. And so I'm writing a book to Caroline about what it means to be spirited, strong, and free.
Awesome. That's so great. And that's I love that your daughter's like that already. That means it came from the parents. That.
She got some spice from us. I love it. She's amazing.
That's awesome. And then so how can people reach you? How can they find you? Do you have some, I know you have social media, but what are some of the ones that are best to reach you on?
Yes. You can follow me at Emily Ley on anything, Instagram, Facebook, and then Simplified on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter as well.
Cool. And you got a website, of course, right?
Yep, EmilyLey.com.
Awesome. And as y'all know, she is very good at giving advice, and you could probably follow her on, I know she has a YouTube channel as well. I've done I watched a lot. So, I just wanted to make sure that, Emily's incredibly accessible. It's probably one of my favorite things about her as a business owner is that, she's so accessible and answers almost all questions that come her way. It's a no-brainer if you have a question to ask, something like that. So while this isn't live, you can still ask questions. I might ask Emily, I might tag her a little bit later, be like, hey, do you mind answering a couple of extra questions?
Absolutely. I would be happy to. So post them here.
Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna tag Emily. We're gonna continue this question and answer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for dealing with our interruptions and our technical
gosh,
difficulties. And again, this was an awesome conversation. I appreciate it. I hope you got some fun out of it. And yeah, hopefully we'll come back soon. You'll come back soon.
I would love to. Thank you so much. We are so grateful for Office Depot's support, and it is an absolute dream to be carried in Office Depot stores and online. So
thank you. That's so great. All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too.
Bye. All right. And then to end this all, guys, thanks for sticking around with our Workonomy discussion. We did have some issues, but we are going to, if you have questions, please continue to comment on them. Comment your questions below because I will be tagging Emily and she will be helping us answer some more questions. More of a one-on-one, which actually seems pretty cool. You can always join our Workonomy Facebook group or our Workonomy LinkedIn group to continue these discussions. We get a lot of our questions and we get a lot of our topics from these groups. And we have a lot of experts in there who also just answer questions, share their ideas. It's what it's all about. It's a business community first and foremost. So make sure you comment. We are giving something away. By next Tuesday, we will have a winner. So make sure you are sharing with some entrepreneurs who seriously need some organizational help. Because at the end of the day, organizing is a great way to prepare for the new year, which is about a month away. So if you're not prepared yet, get an organizer, listen to this video because Emily just dropped some great tips and advice in terms of how to build yourself a better business by simplifying other parts of your life. And remember, a lot of it has to do with prioritization as well. So again, join our Facebook group, join our LinkedIn group, comment, say hi, and you might win one of these bad boys. Have a great day, guys. And we will be back for another Workonomy discussion about gamifying your business. So that's or gamifying, I'm sorry, I pronounced that wrong. Gamifying your business. What does that mean? How does that help your business pull in more leads? We'll be back with you that in December. Have a great day, guys.